Hello, folks. Thank you for listening to The Liars Club. We would love it if you could please give us a rate, a review, and also give us a subscribe on iTunes or whatever platform you are listening to us on. Also, follow us on anything that you can, be it Instagram or Twitter. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us at theliarsclub1@gmail.com. Also, we are doing live episodes of the show, doing live shows, so please be on the lookout for that. And we have live bonus episodes coming out, so listen out for those. Also, we have a live show November 9th at the Ice House in Pasadena, so if you're around, come give us a listen and laugh with us. Thank you.
Welcome to the Liars Club. This is where we take our guests, we tell them to give us the truth, give us a lie, we figure out which is which. I'm Jessica Wellington.
I'm Felicia Michaels.
And you're about to get lied to.
Hi, Jessica. How's it going?
I'm good, so good.
Oh, good. We have two amazing guests today. One of these guests is someone that I met like about 3 or 4, maybe even 5 years ago. She has one of the most wonderful laughs in comedy. Besides yourself, Jessica, you have a wonderful.
You're talking about me, thank you.
I know. You have a wonderful laugh, but she also has a very contagious laugh. She has a really funny podcast that I had the pleasure of being on and does quite well, called Esther Ku and the Gang. And please give it up for Miss Esther Ku, everybody.
Thank you, Felicia and Jessica, for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so excited that you're here. And joining Esther is a gentleman that I had the pleasure of working with a couple of weeks ago when I did Argus Hamilton's Comedy Store Tonight. I got to guest host that, and it was completely frightening because we did it live and it got streamed live. And this gentleman was one of the writers on the show. And please give it up for Mr. Josh Gibson, everybody.
Yay.
Thank you so much, Jess. Appreciate you having me on, Felicia.
You're very welcome.
Also, he is a veteran.
He is?
Yes.
We've
Yes.
done-
Marine Corps veteran.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? How long were you in the Marine Corps?
I just did the minimum, the 4 years, and I got the fuck out of there.
Yeah? What did you do?
I worked on satellite communications, so big boxes on the ground communicating with giant boxes in space.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Very cool.
And what made you decide to go in the comedy?
We all have giant boxes for the record.
Wow. 3 out of the 5 of us, but we're not going to say what 3.
Right, that's right. I am moving this week now. No, I got into comedy because all the practical stuff in life just wasn't making me happy. And
Yeah.
I tried it, and sorry, Mom and Dad, but this silly stuff is going to be what I want to do.
Yeah, everyone has that case scenario, right? What about you, Esther? I actually got to meet Esther's mom the first time I met Esther.
You're really dating yourself here, folks.
Not when Esther was a little girl, bitch. Jeez, Jessica. Very well worded, though. But how is your mom doing?
Oh, she actually is not doing too good.
Oh, man.
She set me up.
This is why so many shows do pre-production meetings. Don't bring up Esther's mom.
I mean, I killed at the eulogy. I was hilarious.
It's really worse than I thought.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh.
I'm so sorry.
Or is that one of my fake lies?
No.
Ooh.
God,
No, I'm just kidding. No,
No, I'm kidding. You are an asshole,
no,
Felicia.
But you took such a great photo of my mom and I, which no one has ever taken in the history of ever.
That's sweet.
You know what? It's one of my favorite photos out of all the photos I've taken of comedy because in one frame it's Esther howling. Esther has an amazing laugh, and then the other frame it's Esther smiling and her mother howling. Like they're both in each frame. It's like one moment after the other, and I love those two pictures. Yeah,
Yeah, because there's a
Sounds very
language
sweet.
barrier, you know.
oh
Between
really?
you and your mom?
Yeah.
Oh really?
Really?
She didn't speak English?
I mean, that's why everything's like delayed, probably. She laughs a second after I do, probably.
Oh,
Is
because
she getting a
she's
cue? She has to wait for the audience to laugh, and then she knows
then
this
she's
is I'm
like-
supposed to be laughing now.
She takes the cue from me.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Well, we're just going to jump right into the game. And for you guys first tuning in for the first time ever, what we do is we have two of our comedy friends come on and we ask them to tell two stories. One is the truth and one is a lie. And we rotate it around. And then Jessica and I Jessica likes to confront people.
Yeah, and I just, before we get started, and this is nothing against either of you, this is not directed towards you, it must be fucking one truth, one lie. If you just change that it happened in a KFC instead of a Popeyes, that's not a fucking lie.
Detail changes do not count. Okay. This actually happened to my sister, not me, so I win.
So,
you can do, that's not your story. It didn't really happen to you.
yeah, you can do someone else's
We're fine with
story.
that.
It's a lie,
okay.
yeah.
But if you just change that one thing and the meat of the story is still true,
Yeah.
that's a true story. That
I feel like
happened
you're
to
saying
you.
this because it's happened before.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we're just trying to, because it's so much fun for us to figure out what is the lie, and then when someone goes, "Oh, no, true," we just want to
Choke them.
punch them in their dicks. Anyway, so
Is it always somebody who has a dick that's telling the lies?
No, not
Okay.
not always. Yeah,
Not always.
yeah.
Or
yeah.
telling the lies about the lies?
Right.
Although
Yeah.
usually
Yeah.
the women think they're really lying.
Yeah.
But I think the
It's 2
women
out of
have
3
been
that
the
it's
better
happened.
liars.
2 out
I
of 3
think
have
women
dicks.
have been better liars. There've been a couple
yeah.
of really good fucking women liars on this thing. So okay, so anyway, not too much pressure. Esther, would you like to go first?
Sure, I'll go first.
Okay.
Okay, so one time on a dark and stormy evening. No, one time when I was in high school, I was writing on the school newspaper.
Was this like last year?
She does have a great laugh.
Yes, yes.
Thank
yes.
you. You could buy it as a ringtone, actually. Nobody
Time
buys
during
it.
your story?
I have one guy who buys it every year. So,
It's more of a customer than we have.
so in high school, I was a writer on the newspaper, and I got censored from the newspaper, and I got in trouble by this town called Rosemont in Illinois. And they didn't like what I wrote about them. I was writing like a satirical piece.
What does satirical mean?
like making fun of it, kind of.
I don't know what it means. I just know
She's
how
not
girls
lying. That's the best part.
Is this where we all confess we really don't know how to define satirical? Is this where we're all like,
This is why we have the camera, so you could see Jess's eyes when she asked that question. She was legit.
so this was your hometown?
It wasn't my hometown. It was a neighboring town.
So on the school paper, you wrote a story talking shit about the neighboring town.
Yeah, and then people flipped out
What did you say?
People in your town or in the other town?
in the town I was making fun of.
Okay.
Yeah, what kind of stuff? How were you making fun of them?
I said, you know, you're from Rosemont when, and you pay your way to the top. And I put parentheses, valedictorian, homecoming queen. And people flipped out. Like, I was, like, accusing them of buying their way to the top, but I was just making fun of them.
Right.
Right?
But
Because they're all wealthy over there. That must be the wealthy side.
Yeah, they're the wealthy town.
uh-huh.
So people got mad at me.
What'd they do?
They, like, copied that article and, like, put it on everybody's door in the town of Rosemont.
Oh, this is pre-internet? Like
Yeah.
like everyone
Yeah.
Oh,
Did
really?
Jesus in the Lamb do?
Yeah, they did.
What the fuck did you just say? Like Jesus and the Lamb?
When they put lamb's blood on all the Jewish doors?
Uh-huh.
I think that's Passover, not Jesus.
I thought it was Egyptian doors also.
Yeah.
'Cause it
Okay,
was
you
for-
guys are poking holes in my story. Anyway, they went door to door.
She's like, the meat of the story is true.
Sometimes I just have to go, what? What the fuck? Anyway, so they went and wow. Who led that charge against you?
You know, the parents, like multiple parents called the school and was like, hey, why'd you let her print this in the newspaper? You know, this is not right.
Because rich parents got time like that.
Exactly.
It's true.
At least one of them does.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you get kicked off the
I got kicked off the newspaper staff.
You did?
So I started my own underground newspaper.
And now Breitbart is the largest.
That's actually actually my real last name.
Esther Breitbart.
But you got to be undercover doing comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
I was like,
hear
people
you.
will believe Ku.
Yeah. Esther Breitbart. That's what I'm going to call you from now on. So, Esther Breitbart, what happened when you got fired off the paper? Were you devastated?
No, I saw it as an opportunity to start, because I had written all this other stuff that I could never print in the paper.
Like,
So I thought, well, I have all this material. I'll just do an underground
it's
paper.
not good enough that I accuse them all of buying whatever they get.
Yes, and
being
so it was a good opportunity for me to start emailing people.
Uh-huh. Oh, so then
And
you
at my
started.
school, our newspaper was just basically a memo. Is that what yours was, or was it like?
No, we had a
Like a paragraph?
No,
It's
like
just
a
on one piece of paper,
mimeograph.
little-
Like a pamphlet.
Okay.
no, we had multiple pages.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fancy.
And how long was your
Maybe you were in the rich town.
Wow, where is this
No,
Illinois?
we only got this printer probably because the Rosemont kids go to our school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Oh, so you shared the high school with Rosemont, and your town shared the same high school.
Yeah.
So you were
'Cause
accusing the kids of that high school, of that town, for buying the valedictorian thing of your own. Of
I was
the
just
high
making
school.
fun of they're the rich people, and
Right,
it's that's
right.
I feel like they
American
could have
tradition
embraced you.
to
They
make
could have
fun of
embraced you
rich
as
people.
Right,
a
right.
Jeff Foxworthy figure.
They
you know,
should've.
right? You're from Rosemont, and
Right.
you're saying about yourself.
Yeah, I did. I
Yeah.
didn't understand that they all went to the same high school. Is what I was getting at.
Right.
Yeah,
And what was
so-
the name of your town?
River Grove.
That sounds like a pretty ritzy place. Come on now.
That sounds so fake.
Every street in River Grove has a median strip wider than any lane down the middle of it,
Oh my God, that
irrigated
is so
with
middle America.
non-potable water.
It is so Middle America, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or
wow.
like where the vampires are from, or something where that
Yeah.
starts.
The zombies.
Yeah. So when you started your own newspaper, how many? How successful was that?
It was pretty successful. I would get the deans in trouble. No, the deans would call the teachers into their office, and the teachers started getting in trouble because I would print what they said that was inappropriate.
Oh, okay. And
Hold on,
did everyone?
You said the deans. I know that there's a thing called the dean's list, but I thought the dean was one person.
No, there's multiple deans.
Yeah, you can have multiple deans. Yeah, of different.
Because there's
like-
usually a bunch of colleges within a university. So it's like the dean of the chemistry school, or the
I
engineering
see what you're
college,
saying.
or the dean of the arts college, or whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
but high school, right?
But high school,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Ooh, fancy high school.
And did you the
big
underground
high
paper?
school.
Was it anonymous that you started, or was it?
No, I took full credit.
you don't end up with a name like Breitbart without taking credit.
Yeah, that's true. That. Oh my God, that's the most political you've ever gotten, Jessica. Just a tear just.
I'm
Wow.
picturing your
She's
high
trying to appeal to all parties. Okay.
Yes.
I'm picturing your high school as the one from 10 Things I Hate About You, where you got this gigantic mountainscape. It's this huge, fancy, gothic structure with a gigantic football, like a real football stadium. Is
Yeah,
that?
we had a football stadium.
But it wasn't just bleachers in a field somewhere. It was cement structures.
Oh no, not that.
Okay, that's what I'm picturing in my
Wow.
head.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is River Cove, baby.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? She didn't correct you. Maybe this is the fake story. I mean, I'm not. Should I be helping you guys?
You
I
can
mean,
do
yeah,
whatever
that's
you
great.
want.
Yeah, I
sure,
can be a
yeah.
side Columbo
Well, that's
for
a
you,
really
yeah.
good first story. That's I like it. I
Right.
like it. That's a
Yeah.
very solid first story. Did you get in trouble from your parents when you got kicked off the writing staff of your high school paper?
No, my parents just they didn't really care what we did. So
Oh, really?
I
That
never
doesn't
really
sound like Asian parents.
That's very accurate.
Sadly, I have to go with her on that one. Yeah, really? They didn't. How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I had 3 brothers and 1 sister.
And were they all going to high school or a few
Yeah.
of them at the same time? Were they like, what the fuck, Esther? Or were they like, yeah, go?
No, they were on my writing stuff.
Oh, they were?
I recruited them. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and
you
then-
got to get perspective from every grade so that you have an
exactly.
inside.
Yeah.
You got to
That's
send your
good.
mystery shoppers out to Bio AP.
What fucked up thing did your teacher say to you today? Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And so, how
Yeah.
many different editions do you think you actually wrote? What was it called? The Esther Ku Tattletale?
It's called The Coup.
The Ku.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how
Very
many
socialist,
different
yeah.
editions did you do, or how many times did you release it?
Once a week, I think I had like 13 issues.
13 issues.
Yeah. Then we graduated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the most horrific thing you wrote in the underground?
Oh, well, one of the teachers said to a female student, "Why is your left breast bigger than your right breast, Natalie?"
Oh.
Was it a
Don't
guy
they have
teacher?
health class?
A male teacher.
Oh, a male
male
teacher.
A male gym teacher said that to this cheerleader in our school.
Was he fitting her for a uniform?
No, he was just flirting with her.
Is uniform code? Jessica?
No, I mean, I was just thinking that's the only maybe possible okay for that to come out.
Well,
Is
I
it like
don't think it's
a
okay
school
if
bra you can buy?
the male
like,
teacher was fitting.
the logo
It's got
on
the
one or the other.
the
Yeah.
crest on there. Yeah.
Wow. When I went to high school, we had this typing teacher, and he had and he would always wear these slacks, and you guys, he had the biggest dong ever on the planet. And we used
that's
to,
why you
all the
passed,
girls
right?
would make fun of it. And then one time I was on the tennis team, and I was in the gym, but it was really dark in the gym. And a couple of friends of mine, we were like, hanging out. And I put my tennis racket between my legs, and I go, "Look, I'm Mr. Smith." And then everyone looked at me, and I turned around, and there he was. Effing typing.
He
I got an
jerked
F.
off to
Did
that.
you really?
Still.
But you can
flunked
think
it.
about it as a guy. I mean, to get made fun of because you have a big penis.
Yeah, but you
That seems like a
As a-
weird concept.
Yeah.
But as
Yeah.
a grown ass man, you never want to hear a whiny 14-year-old go, "Look, Mr. That doesn't feel sexy, I don't think.
I disagree. There's a lot of porns that start that way. So I'm just,
Okay, fair
no,
enough.
not a
fair
laugh.
Claim they're
Whatever. I'll be over
18.
here.
Yeah. Okay, well that's a good start.
That was
That's a
good.
good start. All right, Josh, your turn.
So when I was stationed in Okinawa, it was 2009, and my buddy had just gotten back from Afghanistan. My roommate, we'd been roommates the entire time we were in the Corps, and he had just gotten back from Afghanistan. And I don't know if you had this when you were on active duty, Jess. Spice,
No.
synthetic marijuana. It's
Oh, I've heard of that.
right. It can't be tested for. At the time that I was in, they can test for it now, but at the time that I was in, couldn't be tested for. And he had
How did you keep the same roommate for 4 years?
when we knew we were going to the same unit, because we got sent to the same unit from school,
Yeah.
and we just kind of requested to just keep hanging out with each other.
And for 4 years, you were at one location,
Well,
one base?
Okinawa, we were roommates for 2 years, and
Oh,
he
you
went
got her
to,
going now, Josh.
So when you go to Okinawa, it's for 2 years,
Right.
and you're going to have the same roommate unless you get married and move off base.
But you said for 4 years?
Right, so we were roommates in school, which was everything except boot camp.
Right.
So we had about 6 months together in living together in Georgia.
There's a lot more learning for satellites.
That's right. And
For bombs, it's only like an 8-week school.
and artillery's even less. Yeah.
Don't hit the tip with a hammer. You're good. Just let it roll.
Chain of command, you're good to go. And so when we knew we were both going to Okinawa, we just kind of put in the request to keep rooming together, and that was 2
Right.
years. But he did 9 months in Afghanistan. I did 9 months in Australia during that time, but technically, officially, we were still roommates. So we came back to the same room.
All right, you satisfied, Jessica, with
No,
that?
because
Bam.
you were there for 2 years. You're talking about 3 years.
So when we left Okinawa, we left at the same time, and both went to North Carolina and did the same thing. And
Where at North Carolina?
Camp Lejeune.
Okay, Jacksonville.
Yeah, Onslow County. Got one speeding ticket there.
What turn off?
That's right. It was Western and Highway 1.
So wow, you both got, that's mighty lucky.
Yeah, well, we both kind of wanted it to be that way because we enjoyed each other's company.
Sure.
We were good roommates.
But you know how many people in the military get married, so they're guaranteed to be together because it's never usually that lucky?
Yeah. In fact, about halfway through the tour in North Carolina, he got married and moved off base. But
See?
his room was still technically my room, and I was just now the only one living in it, which was pretty sweet.
All right, so you guys are in Okinawa.
So we're in Okinawa, and he got back from Afghanistan. He asked me if I wanted to smoke spice, and I said, yeah. I thought about it for about a
How
split second.
How did he get that to Okinawa?
You can leave Afghanistan with a lot of cool stuff, and really nobody's looking. I mean, about 10% of bags got searched when I was on active duty, and I don't know if that's still the number.
I don't
but-
remember ever getting searched,
Right.
really.
I would just stand in the place that I knew he wasn't taking random ID. Everybody would hold their ID cards. They take random cards. So I would just stand in a place that was pretty inconvenient to reach to, and they just never searched my bag. Anyway, you can come back from Afghanistan with a lot of cool stuff. He came back with some spice, and he offered to smoke me out. And
What does it look like?
it looks like thyme, kind of crumbled up thyme and sage, leafy type of things. But you get it in a bag that is vacuum sealed. It has a Ziploc resealable thing. Like it's a product. It's a brand or something. So he has this, and I have a car. He doesn't have a car yet because he just got back. And I have what we call an island car, which is cars that get passed down just through the ages. And I'm driving around with him on the officer place, which is the only place that isn't patrolled by the MPs consistently, and military police. And so we were rolling up a blunt, smoking around in the officers' complex. And in the officers' complex is the PX, the grocery store, commissary. And open 24 hours. And we were like, oh, we're hungry. We're ready to snack on some stuff. So we go in there, and we are parking, and we hit a car a little bit. Not a bad scenario. But scratched this car up, decided to move into a different part of the parking lot, and then go about our shopping experience. And when we came back out, a woman was standing next to our car, which was freaky at about 2 a.m. So we asked her what was going on, and she says, well, clearly this paint on your car is from... Sorry, I just hit that microphone.
That's all right.
I'm pointing for the people on the camera and not on the camera. This paint on your car is clearly from the paint over on my car. And we said, oh...
My kind of lady.
Right. Well, if you're out at the commissary at 2 a.m, you're not in a huge... You're either in the biggest rush you've ever been in, or things are kind of going relaxed for you.
Right.
And so she's on the phone, but puts the phone down to talk to us and address us for obviously being the people who hit her car. It turns out base general's wife.
Oh, you dummy.
Yeah.
You're high on spice.
And we're high on spice. And we somehow managed to let her know that we will take care of this, but it's probably best that we go back to the barracks. We got the information we needed from her, which is just basically how to get a check to her husband at the H1 building, and that was the end of it. But we came so close to getting kicked out of the Marine Corps in Okinawa about 2 years in.
So
It's pretty weird timing. It's a bad place to get kicked out of the Corps, is Okinawa.
why? Why is that a bad place to get kicked
Because
out
it's
of the Corps?
international. Like you have to get home from there,
they
and
don't- they
they'll
don't-
send you home. They'll pay for you to get home, but it's not in a good way. Like I left Okinawa to go on vacation, and I went to what's called Space A, where you get a seat that a major who didn't want to fly,
Right.
so you get that seat now. And I went to Australia on that, and that was very comfortable. But leaving Okinawa, I've heard leaving Okinawa when you get kicked out is basically like a cargo plane, and you're just in the back, and it's interlocked knees like on a C4. You've been on a C4 flight,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
All right, I have some
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
So is a PX or a commissary stays open 24 hours a day?
Not all of them,
No,
but
there are some, though. They have like a little BX, whatever they call it. It'll be open 24/7. Not like a small one. The big one, the AFI, was it?
in the Marines, it's probably something different.
Yeah.
But there's a section that closes down during the day, and a
Right.
section that's basically
Well,
when you're
here's a
on a flight
question.
squadron, there's a 24-hour segment of convenience.
So when
Right.
you were in Okinawa, what kind of meat did you eat a lot in Okinawa?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't ask what's on the street food, but I didn't see any stray dogs or cats, and it was delicious. And I just yakitori is probably my favorite thing I've ever had, and I don't know what yakitori is, but it's probably my favorite food I've ever had, at least in Asia.
Felicia, what is yakitori?
Yakitori is it's like a small meat on sticks that they grill. You know, like
Yep.
That's wrong.
okay. Well, then explain it.
Yeah, that was clearly
Actually,
a kebab.
I don't know what yakitori is.
Oh, are you serious?
I'm Korean. I don't eat Japanese food. Fuck them.
Fair enough. It's like I think meat on a stick that they grill, and sometimes they do different kind of meats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as I
'Cause
know.
I
yeah.
went to Okinawa once with Robert Schimmel,
Oh, yeah?
and we did a gig there.
What base did you go to?
We didn't. It was off the base.
Okay.
But it was. We had some great sushi. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a story about a old Japanese gentleman soldier that had hid for many years. And
Oh yeah, yeah. And
Right?
he'd just come out in the 70s or something.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I was asking you because I remember they ate a lot of Spam too.
Yeah,
That's why I
although
was asking about the
I thought
meat.
that was Filipinos.
it's
No,
all
it's-
because of the
it's a-
Korean conflict, though.
It's
Because
all Asians.
No, I think the Spam is on islands. They don't have a. I could be wrong, but like in Hawaii, they have a lot of dishes with Spam because they don't
Right.
have not a lot of cows. Although there is cows in Hawaii, but on islands there's not a lot of livestock.
yeah, my
know what I mean? It's
understanding
very
it was kind of an
expensive.
accident from
Oh, yeah?
American servicemen in Korean conflict. So like
Uh-huh.
up in it started out there and moved its way south.
The Spam moved its way south.
The popularity of
Spam
Spam.
movement. Here's the
See
actual
people.
map. We can track it. With
Yes,
It moves 1
Yes.
kilometer every generation.
yes.
I mean, the roommate thing is what's got me fucked up over everything
yeah?
else. Yeah, that you actually got to stay with your roommate for 4 years, and
I mean,
to
I
the
would
next
call it
base.
3.5 official roommate years.
I think
Definitely, because definitely going from school to your first base, yeah, because most of your class you usually all get, because it's all
You all leave around the same time.
around the same time, and you all kind of get the same places.
Mm-hmm.
So like a good chunk of you will get this, and then so you'll go with a lot of your friends and stuff that were in your class to your first duty station.
Yeah.
But then for him to also get stationed with you in North Carolina,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's weird if you went to the army brass and were like, this guy and I really like each other and we want to get stationed. You know what I mean? Like
No, we didn't talk to anybody official about it. You get what's called a wish list, and in the Marine Corps, it's probably different than the Air Force.
no, it's called a wish list.
But we get three choices,
Yeah.
and there's only 3 choices a Marine can make. So you just put the order of choices you would want. But the Air Force has a bunch more stations. But we only get to just put the order of the 3 stations we would serve in the order we would serve them in. And both him and I decided to put North Carolina at the top of the list. And I did it because I had not been to war yet, and that was the next unit that was scheduled to go to war was in North Carolina. And he did it because he had already gone to war and liked it too much and wanted to go back to war.
oh, so you wanted to go to war?
I was a crazy person at the time that I was on active duty. Yeah, it was like a lot of Marines want to go to war at the time that they're on active duty.
right.
The real-
I wanted
the
to go
good
when
ones
I-
figure
when I
out
went
that's
in,
crazy.
So I put in for it.
You did?
Both of mine were voluntary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
It's fun over there. You make good money too.
Yeah, a lot of good money. Guy came back with 25 grand once, bought a Mustang, and didn't insure it, didn't get a license, didn't register it with the county, nothing. I gave him a week to get his. I was his corporal. Gave him a week to get his stuff situated. In that same week, he had wrecked it twice.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, that's a good strong story. That's a good strong
Pretty
story.
good. Pretty good.
All right.
Cool.
Different. We have a good amount of variety going on here. Second story, Esther.
That was a convincing story.
Thank you.
Yeah. Whether it's real or not.
Yeah.
That remains.
I was gonna say, do you know that it's a lie? How do you know?
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're
She
gonna
was the
find
one who
out.
sold us the spice.
Yeah. What kind of is it? The
I
same
was living
kind
in Japan at that time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's like, what do you need?
No, I'll believe anything. And you said you didn't need a yakitori. So, what did the spice? Did it taste like marijuana?
No, it tastes like burnt like charcoal.
I
type
have
of
a weed dealer named Spice in New York. I never knew what Spice was until today.
Were they?
What about those videos where you go crazy? Those people
Yeah.
that went crazy. Out of
Yeah,
Yes, did you go
The
crazy?
face eating video, I think,
Yeah,
is
jump
is
out a
related to that
window.
stuff.
That's
yeah.
spice, right?
No, I did get
Yeah.
I did
Bath
get
salts.
very sick. I've never thrown up from marijuana, but I've thrown up from spice.
How many
and-
times did you smoke spice?
I don't know, 150 to 200.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like a lot, like a lot.
Really?
Really?
Because at the time you couldn't test for it, and I was a big pothead before and after I still smoke weed all the time.
Does it have the same feeling?
Same exact feeling. It doesn't last as long. But like I said, I've gotten sick to the point of nausea from spice, but never from weed. So that effect is also a little different. But
And what does it smell like?
I don't just burning herbs and charcoal. Like it's like dried out grass with the part that gets you high isn't the actual part you can see. They spray something on the stuff you can see, and that's the
That's
part
what
that
I
gets
heard.
you. Yeah.
Oh, they spray something on it
Oh.
that makes you high.
Right, so
you're
it doesn't
not
really
even
matter
getting
what
high.
it is. So it's different depending on what brand you buy. Like
See,
in North
so
Carolina, the
everybody
spice is very
has
different.
been huffing air freshener. I just went straight to the source.
Right.
Wow. So in Afghanistan, you don't know what it is that they're spraying on that.
No.
I mean, I'm sure that the chemical
no.
formula is on paper somewhere, but I never bothered to
Interesting,
look it up.
interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Esther, your
Put
story.
roach spray on there.
Can I just vent about the country of South Korea?
You can do whatever
They
you want.
said that if any of their citizens go to Canada on vacation and smoke weed, they will arrest them when they go back to Korea.
What?
South Korea or North Korea?
South Korea.
I thought I read somewhere in North Korea that the people smoke pot in North
Yeah,
Korea.
they do.
Yeah.
There's no rule
That's
against it in North Korea.
North Korea, they let them in North Korea?
That's fucked up though when you get
Well,
the
yeah, but
munchies.
the weed's all North Korean weed. It's a local product. I mean, why not support the local economy? I think. You know?
Yeah, but that's, what's his name lets him do that?
I don't think
Kim
he gives a
Jong-un.
shit. Yeah, I don't think he cares. Yeah.
Interesting. So the South Koreans say if their citizens go to Canada and get high,
Yeah, because there's a big
How would they
Korean
know?
population in Canada.
uh-huh.
So they all live in Vancouver, Toronto,
Uh-huh.
and then they're like going to visit their relatives. But because
Wow.
South Korea, they want people to like work and be workaholics and just drink alcohol.
How much is a plane ride from South Korea to Vancouver?
Probably like
That's a
1,200.
really pricey
That
dime
is the
bag.
really
Yeah, shit.
Like, how much weed would you have to buy for that to be worth it?
Well, let's go to that second story, Esther.
Okay, so this was like in 2004. I was a volunteer at the Boston Comedy Festival, and Bill Cosby was on the lineup. And
What year was this?
2004. And he was performing at the Wilbur, which was like the biggest venue at the festival. And when it was, because everything else is kind of
Right,
smaller
right.
and in a club.
Uh-huh.
So I was a volunteer. So I drove, I picked up comedians from the airport and I checked them in. And so we were at the hotel. It was at the Millennium Hotel downtown. And he came in and and so I checked him in and I was like, oh my God, I gave him a compliment right away.
Okay.
Right. And so I was like, oh my God, I saw, what's that album called? Himself or something?
I don't know.
He has
Himself. Bill
epic-
Cosby himself.
Yeah, an epic comedy album himself. I told him like, oh, I watched that when I was like, 15. It was amazing, and he was like, oh, thanks. Like not really like caring, but like pretending to care.
Right.
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 So I was like, oh, I'm also a comedian. Because when you first start, you tell everybody you're a comedian.
Right, now he really doesn't care.
Totally. And then so after I checked him in, I told him I'm a comedian, and you're right, he didn't care. But in my head, I was like, he cares. I was like, he cares.
Yeah, of course.
And there weren't a lot of people around, right? So I helped him bring his bag up to his room, and he was like, so are you a comedian? And I was like, yeah. He's like, what about an actor? And I was like, well, not really. I'm only doing comedy. And he was like, well, I teach acting classes. And I was like, okay. So, I was just like really naive and like went inside his hotel room.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, well, why don't you sit over here? And it was like on his bed, like right next to him.
Uh-huh.
And he like went over like these acting exercises that, I'd never been to an acting class before, so I didn't know
what was the acting
what
exercise.
it was. It was just kind of like,
Drink
pretend.
this.
It was just kind of like, just pretend I'm your doctor. And
Oh my God! You played one doctor with Bill Cosby!
So that's why it's Dr. Cosby. I get it now.
Oh, what kind of doctors hawks pudding pops and new Coke? That doesn't
New Coke. That's a good pull.
diabetes in a bottle.
yeah, so I don't know. Part of me was like, I don't know what I should do, but I'm also like in a hotel room with Bill Cosby. Like, when else is this gonna happen, right? And he didn't like feel like rapey to me or anything. He just was like, friendly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
And then, luckily, I got a phone call from Jim McHugh, like the guy in charge of the Boston Festival.
Right.
And they needed me to like pick up this agent from the airport.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I gotta go. And he was just like, okay. And then I left, and I never took like an acting class. You know what I mean? Like it just happened like right at the same time.
Wow, the first time where you had to do something for an agent and it actually worked in your favor. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Wow. So now that you've heard all this stuff that's obviously gone on with Cosby, obviously, you must think about that all the time.
Oh my God, I look at that and I'm just like, holy shit, I dodged a huge pudding pop ball.
Yeah.
Did you have to bring his bag up and everything? Like, were you carrying his bag, or did he carry his own bag?
I was rolling his bag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did it feel like heavier than it should have felt, or did it feel like there was?
Are you?
No.
I'm just
there was a
picturing
body in
all the
there?
great scenes in the movies where they unlock the unsuspecting bag and it's full of like BDSM's gear, like whips and stuff, like stuff that would be
Or
heavier.
his doctor equipment.
No, he had like multiple bags though.
Okay. He had you roll multiple bags. Did he carry any one of his bags?
No, he carried like a briefcase, and
Okay.
then I had like two, like
All
a
right.
carry-on and like a.
At least he took
extra
one.
bag.
At
Whatever
least he
happened
took
to the
one bag.
briefcase?
I don't know.
No, I mean like in general. The
Oh.
briefcase was the.
Remember, everyone used them. Now it's
Yeah.
backpack. It became the backpack.
Now it's the backpack.
Yeah. Here's the thing. When I first did comedy, I did a lot of TV back in the day in the 90s.
She was on Full House.
She doesn't
Star
mean
Search.
to humiliate me like that, but she does. But I did a lot of comedy shows, and they used to film one at the Laugh Factory. And if I'm repeating, I'm sorry, Andrew always keeps a track of if I'm repeating a story, but I was getting my makeup done because they were doing a live comedy show at the Laugh Factory, and the makeup artist was this guy, and we hit up a conversation as you do with the makeup artist, and he said, this is like in the 90s, he's like, if you're ever in a room with Bill Cosby, be very careful.
Whoa.
And I thought to myself, what? Like, that was weird. And then I didn't think about that again until the thing came out about Bill Cosby, and I was like, fuck.
They weren't
Right?
saying don't bump into him.
Right.
Like he's going to fall over and break.
So
Wow, and with no explanation?
With no explanation,
They
and it was
should
like, all right,
explain
yeah,
why.
yeah, it was really weird.
Because like I'd be like, well, if I,
Yeah.
what's
So
up?
when you were in the room, you had no indication of, you didn't feel creepy when he's like sitting next to me on the bed, or
Well, like, yeah, I did feel creepy, but I just was like, well, I'm not going to say no to Bill Cosby. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, also, like, in the hotel room, it's not like there was, like, a other place to sit.
That is such a predatory move too, to feel you out, because he wasn't doing anything then, but he probably was just seeing if he could get away with it with you.
Right. If I was going to just be like, okay, here's your bags, bye.
yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
wow,
Right, and get a sense of who you are. Like, is she gonna
yeah.
buck me? Like,
Did he have a sweater on?
Shit.
He had a coat on.
He had a coat on.
Yeah.
Any questions, Andrew?
No. I don't know. I loved watching y'all's reactions as this thing on, because it was like
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
fun. Sorry.
Scary. All right. Any questions, Jessica?
Nuh-uh.
Now,
How fancy was the hotel room?
It was pretty nice.
was it a suite?
Yeah.
And so instead of asking you to sit down on the couch, he asked you to sit down on the bed?
Yeah. But I just went along with it.
Yeah.
But he didn't ask you to sit down in the whirlpool tub or anything.
No.
All right.
You think if that happened to you today that you would go, you know what I mean? You would have sat on the bed? Just because when you're young, you don't know. When you're young, you're just like, well, it's Bill Cosby. And you're not
Right.
that worldly or...
I haven't had that career lull. I would have been on my knees.
But you know what? I also think it's different.
Or you would have
kinds of
thought you were
women,
after you
too.
woke up.
Yeah.
Because I totally would go up to a room.
Well, being comedians, like that's where we spend a lot of time with our guy friends because there's nowhere else to hang out. You're in a
Right,
city together.
totally.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought twice about that. Like, yeah, well, let's go hang out.
Yeah. Come on, Cosby.
Exactly.
Mama wants to play. All right. Well, there you
I
go.
think you're due for a shot.
Yeah. Good, solid second story. And Josh, how about you?
So I had just moved to Seattle for the first time. Might have been around the same time, 2003, 2004, end of it, or whatever.
So before the Marines?
Before the Marines. And I had already been 21, but one of our friends was turning 21. I already had a couple buddies in the city. One of them was turning 21. And I don't know if you guys know this, no booze in the strip clubs in Seattle. They don't allow, they serve
Yeah, 'cause
Sprites,
they're fully
Cokes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. It's everywhere almost.
Yeah, what's up with that Puritan bullshit?
And how do
You just
know
had
that,
so much
Jessica?
knowledge right off. It's full nude, of course.
I know that
All right,
was
let's
Been
get
to
your
North Carolina, been to
that
Florida, been to
knowledge.
everything.
So we're taking this guy out to go for his 21st birthday party. We're going to this strip club downtown called Deja Vu's, which is down at Pike Street in Seattle.
God, does
Goose.
everywhere have deja vu?
I think it's a chain, yeah, a franchise or something.
Deja vu or deja vush?
Deja Vu, VU. That's Vu, right?
Deja vu.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know French. So they don't serve booze, but we wanted to be drunk for this experience. And so we went down to this place across the street called Post Alley, which has a whole bunch of bars in it. And they're very high-priced bars, but we didn't take that into consideration. So we go down there and we want to have so we have our ticket because you buy a ticket at the strip club and it gets you in and out privileges because they don't serve booze, but they know you're going to go get drunk.
Right.
So we get our ticket and we go to the bar and we get our drinks and there's three of us and we talk to the bartender. We say we want and we're 21, so I'm embarrassed about this drink order, but so there's three of us. We say we want 6 shots of Jaeger, and she pours out 6 shots, and we said no, each.
No.
What?
Yeah, so
Shut up.
we
Are
had
you
all the
serious?
shots lined up. All the shots. I know. I'm 100% in agreement. My 21-year-old gut was so different. So we did our shots real quick, and we went up to the strip club.
You guys did 6 shots of Jaeger.
Just like rapid fire machine gun, just go, and we're out the door. We're not here to hang out at this bar. So we go over to the place, and it's the guy's birthday, so we're buying lap dances. And I bought a couple dances, and we all have it's a partitioned off area that you can get the lap dances in, so we can't see each other or anybody else that's in the club. And the bass is really emphatic, and the heat is sweltering in this place, and I feel a very familiar feeling, like this is not going to go well, stomach wise, right? And I try to let this girl know what's about to happen.
Oh, she was giving you a lap dance?
Yeah, but she didn't hear me.
Was she giving you a lap dance on, like, just on the, you both were on the floor? Sometimes, like, if you do a lap dance for a person, like in the Los Angeles area. Yeah, we had to. I was a stripper when I was 18. We had to do it on a apple box because to do it was a table dance. They were called. You had to be above a certain height, and the table had to be a certain size. So it was just like the same size as an apple box. So you would, if someone said they wanted a table dance, you'd have to go in the corner. I swear to God, and get an apple box and dance on it. So she was just was she bending over when you were nauseous?
I'm in a regular height bench, like padded booth type of thing, and she is not facing me, just lap in lap. Lapping,
Right.
her butt lap is in my front lap.
Hashtag butt lap.
And so she didn't hear me when I tried to give her the warning of what I was feeling.
What was your warning?
It was this isn't going well, right? Like this isn't going well. You need to move.
You need to be more urgent. With
Right.
your
Well, my second warning. I gave her a second warning.
Right.
I gave
That
a
just
second
sounds
warning.
like you're criticizing her dancing.
No. Maybe that's what she thought. She's over there in front like this jerk.
How do you like this, baby?
My second warning came with you're not supposed to touch people, but I was doing a hip move, like a
Oh, you're
push
trying to
off
move
of my
her out of
lap
the way?
thing.
Yeah.
It was like, honey, you got to move, and she was resisting my hand push her off of my lap, like she was trying to stay to finish whatever I paid her to do. And so,
Jesus.
lap dance.
Which was?
Yeah. And so at that point, it was too late. It was too late.
I'm just gonna isolate that audio, whatever I paid her to do.
It was too late, and I barfed all over this girl's back, and it was not pleasant for either one of us. But I'm sure it was much more unpleasant for her because I feel better after I puked.
What did she call you?
I didn't. I was hammered. I don't remember any. I remember getting pulled out by the bouncer and dragged down the stairs. I remember handing the bouncer money and saying, "Give this to her," because like a bigger tip or whatever.
Right.
And I remember hanging out by the dumpster at the bottom of because it's an upstairs club. At the bottom of the stairs, there's an alleyway and a dumpster, and I'm just leaning against it, getting the rest of it out. And I don't know how much time went by, but it might have been a few minutes, it might have been an hour. But my buddies came down after the fact and made sure I was okay, picked me up, and then we went to go see Saw. This was the opening weekend of Saw.
Wow, and you were 21?
Yes, 21.
Perfect weekend. Perfect weekend.
You know what? When I turned 21, I was stationed in Vegas. So I went from England, where it was 18 to drink, and then right to Vegas, where I turned 21. And my girlfriends took me out to the strip tease, an all men review show, and it was raunchier than like Thunder from Down Under, because these guys, it was, you could touch and all kinds of stuff. Right? It's not just them on the stage; they come out and play.
You touch them through like an underwear?
Yeah, or you could go in if you wanted, really.
I guess what
just
Esther
go
was
in.
asking, did you go in?
I was gonna say at first, because I was just 21, I was like, "Oh, this is silly. I don't want to do this. This is so stupid. Like this is. We'll go just to say we did it, you know." And we went, and my friends were just throwing me ones, and we had been drinking, and by the end of the night, I'm just like, "What? Come on!
Let's do this next weekend.
Yeah, there was a guy that looked like had long hair like Fabio, and I love long hair, and I was all up on his jock.
This sounds like a very typical Okinawa weekend.
That's a
yeah,
good-
yeah.
I bet that was an aggressive scene.
You kind of look like him.
Oh, really? You better come more than just one, so. Wow. Interesting stories. Well, I guess, do you have any questions for Josh over there?
Well, I feel like the second one, I don't know, it felt, he was trying to throw us off. It felt like a movie almost. I come down the stairs and I'm right there by a dumpster, you know, and I'm
Just conveniently
It probably
placed at the
is a
bottom of the
movie.
stairs.
you know, letting it go.
Isn't that the plot of 16 Candles?
I never saw that movie. I've never seen. I know what you mean when you say Long Duck Dong, but I've never seen 16 Candles.
So, any questions?
No, not for the, no, I'm good.
Okay.
All right, so
I will say, when you mentioned going from England to Vegas,
Yeah.
that was a big deal in Okinawa because drinking age is 20 in Japan and 21 in the States. So there'd be some guys who got lucky enough to get stationed there at the right time of life.
Right.
If they turn 20 in Japan, get a big party. The next year they come back, turn 21 right when
A
they get back
Hello
to the
Kitty
States.
party.
Karope. Do you know Karope?
all right.
I do.
Yeah,
What is
you know
that?
Karope? I had all the pencil boxes of him, the frog. He was the cuter one.
Okay.
He was.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So, we're gonna pass judgment on which one is the truth and which one is the lie. And let's start with Esther. And any final
Are
questions?
all three of you guessing, or just?
we all can.
Okay.
Yeah. If you have any
Oh,
I
questions,
can guess
yeah,
too?
Yeah, of
Oh,
course.
I'm glad I didn't
Absolutely.
say
Oh
it
my
out
God, you should have
loud.
paid
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody have any questions for Esther about any of her stories?
What was the quick recap of each one again?
Okay, the first story was she wrote on her school paper and talked shit about the rich town next door, and then when she got kicked off the school paper, which her Asian parents didn't get mad about, she started her own underground
unusual.
paper.
Dad, fuck.
Right.
Yeah,
I guess if
that
Asians
her
have enough kids, they'll be like, we'll get with the next one. We'll be good."
right, and then she got her brothers and sisters to be
True.
cub reporters on it.
The cover reporters.
That's right.
You're
All right.
so good.
There you go. And the second story was the Bill Cosby.
How do we? I we were like,
Story.
which one? Oh, that one.
The
Yeah.
Bill
yeah, yeah.
Cosby story. Yeah, you dodged the bullet on that. Wow.
Right.
I think that's the real story. I think the Bill Cosby one's the
And
real
what
story.
makes you think that?
Because you can't make up a Me Too. It's 2018. You can't do that. That would be so wrong.
In this podcast, you can.
Well, it's not a Me Too though.
Well,
Are
yeah.
you judging
It's a
her? before
me
we-
almost.
Oh my gosh, my shaving issues are coming out. Oh my gosh.
I'm starting a new movement. Hashtag me almost.
Almost.
Don't fire these guys. Just beware.
There, yeah. That defines the comedy industry perfectly. All right, so there you go, and no other questions.
Well, with the first one did kind of sound. It also sounded like a movie. When she was at that school, it sounded like a romantic school movie.
Like Breakfast Club.
Yeah, something like that, or you
Like
know,
we're going to start our own fraternity and do
Right.
our own rules.
exactly. We're gonna have our underground paper and we're gonna kill it.
We're gonna have old people in it and young people in it, and no one's gonna care.
Yeah.
And I mean, it would be difficult for her to, to make up something about Bill Cosby. But then again, I feel like she was trying to play it up that she didn't know a lot of the details.
Well,
in the
what year was
Cosby.
that with Cosby? What year was that?
2004.
2004, she said.
2004. Wow.
But
And he
when
was
you were like,
doing
is
an
it-
hour-long set at that theater? He was doing long set at that theater?
At the
there?
Wilbur.
Yeah.
But you were like, was it a suite? And she was like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes.
I think she's playing that up to make it think, we think she's lying
Uh-huh.
on that story. So it's, does that make sense? I'm going all over, but
You're trying to reverse psychology.
Yes.
This stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
but it's very difficult. So
Very
I,
insightful.
yeah, but I almost, I think she was doing that on purpose. So that's why I think the Cosby thing is true.
So you saying her reverse psychology failed to fool you, and so it's true.
Yes.
Okay.
I love your little face when you pass judgment.
It is decided.
Yeah.
Wow, Andrew.
I want to say, okay, I think that Cosby's not true, but it could have happened to a friend of yours. You could have been at the festival, and it could have happened to a friend.
Or a coworker.
Or however you want to word it or whatever. A
colleague, comrade.
Or you could have just met him at the hotel, and since everything happened, you were like, I could do this
Yeah,
for this.
maybe.
You could have been part of the festival and then done that. But I also, I've been to Zanies in Rosemont, and I know that Rosemont's a very affluent place. So not that that's like a big giveaway.
You don't know the
But-
neighboring town?
The only one I know is Schaumburg, but because that's where the Improv is. But that's only one of the neighbors. I don't know all of them.
Oh,
no.
Rosemont, the town where she was next door in
Yeah,
high school.
there's
Sorry,
there's a Zanies there.
And no place with an improv is the nice part of town.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, so that's why I want to say that one is true.
So you're saying the high school one is true and the Bill Cosby one is not true?
Yes.
Okay.
All
You're
right.
saying that the Cosby
I'm basing this
one
all
is
off the fact that I know
True.
Rosemont's an
Yeah.
expensive place to live. That's all I got.
Josh, what is your...
I said Cosby is true.
Jeez.
What do you think, Felicia?
No, that's a difficult one. Esther has no filter.
Right.
Like, so I totally kind of believe the high school thing, but the Cosby thing is so juicy. I'm going to say that I'm going to say the Cosby one is a lie.
Ooh, an
So
even
we're
split.
together.
An even
Yeah.
split.
Yeah.
Veterans
2-2.
together.
So what is this? What is the lie and what is the truth?
Dun, dun, dun. I never met Bill Cosby.
Nailed it.
Damn you!
It's okay. Veterans may go down, but we go down together. I'm not leaving you behind, Jeff.
I was just making it up as I went along. And then when you were like, well, how'd you get out of it? I was like, they called me.
Yeah. No, the sweet thing, that was when I was like, oh, the sweet. Or you
But you're good because you add details.
Yes, you were on your
no
feet with
problem.
the
You
details.
didn't stutter.
Yes, yes.
You were like, so-and-so called me and fucking had to pick
Yeah.
up somebody from the
Yeah.
airport.
Yeah.
And that-
then
yeah.
that was so creepy. You sitting next to him. I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh. All right. So,
Yeah.
wow. Good
You're a
one.
good liar.
Good
Good one.
little fucking liar, man.
Yeah, you
I
are.
like to call it a good actress, but
Yeah.
That's why my agent was calling me.
All right. So Josh, now you can play with us on this one here, Esther. So
cool.
Josh's first story was that he got stationed to Okinawa with a friend that he had been stationed in quite a few other places, and the friend brought spice, but it was sealed hermetically.
hermetically.
That's right.
Am I using that correctly?
Is that a real word?
Is it
100%
Sealed by a hermit.
Yeah. Well, the way you described it, how it was sealed so hermetically, I'm going to say it twice, and then to find out later that spice is just some green shit that they spray the chemical on to get high, and I'm all like, wow, interesting. So that's the first story, and
Well, that's
that
not the
that hit the general's wife's car,
Right.
right.
and that they almost got busted.
Right.
And then the second story was the story about, now I can't remember that story.
At the strip club.
Oh,
Vomit.
the strip club. And you vomited on the girl. Did she have her a thong on when you vomited on her?
Yeah, top off.
The top
bottom
off.
on.
And where?
Easier to clean up at least.
Yeah, where did she have
thong,
long
not
hair?
really.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
like
you mean her? I
shoulder
thought you meant
length.
the clothes.
She had shorter length.
Like I don't know what long. Like you have long hair to me, and it wasn't as long as your hair.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you threw up on her, where did it exactly land?
Oh, splatter on the back.
Yeah, but where at on the back?
It was.
Did it get on her
projectile.
thong and
It
on her
was-
hair?
I don't remember if it got into her thong. I remember seeing a lot spread north to south over her back.
do you remember the stripper's name?
No.
How do you know it's north? How do you know it's north to south? Did she have a compass tattooed on her back?
Laterally is what we would say. Going not spread
is her name?
sideways,
That's
spread
usually
long ways.
what a guy yells out when he's coming. Laterally.
Did she have any tattoos?
Yeah,
What was the tattoo?
I don't know.
Really? You throw up on a girl, you can't fucking remember her tramp stamp?
No, it wasn't a tramp stamp. It was
It
on
was-
her arm. It was up her back arm.
Upper back
So
arm, like
probably
on
it
her
was
shoulder.
like
Shoulder
a kid's
blade.
name.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. It was a
Angel-
design. It wasn't
angel
words,
wings.
but it was a design.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Any questions, anybody? The floor is open.
I got one. What year did this happen?
Which one? Which story?
The vomit story
The vomit story, 2003, 2004.
In Seattle, Washington.
in Seattle. Okay, I'm gonna say.
He said it was hot in there too. How often is Seattle hot?
It gets humid though.
I said it was hot in the strip club.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that the Seattle one's a lie because you said you went and saw Saw, and I know that came out in 2001 or 2.
Really? But what if it was Saw 2 or something?
But he said Saw specifically.
Maybe I'm an idiot.
That's possible.
Well, we know that's true.
Either way, whatever story's true, you are an idiot.
Yeah. That's my only. That's the only thing I'm gonna base it on is that I know that the first one came out in 01 or 02.
And you said what year was it?
2003, 2004.
Yeah.
So.
I just can't get over the fact that you were roommates with your roommate for 4 years. I can't get over that, so that's why I don't think that's real.
Okay.
I think that's ridiculous. People get so many people get married in the Air Force and in the military just so they can stay together and travel at the same base.
Maybe he did get
That's
married.
because it's so hard. The odds are.
Right.
Now, it just so you know, when you get married in Okinawa, it doesn't mean that you start living with your wife unless she is also in Okinawa. So, like, maybe he got married to somebody who wasn't in Okinawa.
Well, here's my question.
Wouldn't
Did
help
you
with the roommate
ever
situation,
smuggle anything from when you were on tour anywhere? Like,
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so that someone would take that chance because if you got caught, that's a big fucking.
But we also didn't leave the base.
Yeah.
So we didn't really have a chance to be trying to.
I'm gonna say the first one is a lie. Okinawa is a lie with
Okay.
the spice, and I'm gonna say for you to say you smoked spice 100 times.
I couldn't count how many.
That
That's
was-
really
that was
I
a
couldn't
little
tell you
crazy.
how
Yeah,
many.
that was a little
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, they said it lasts half as long, so you got to double up to get the.
He does seem like he has endured a lot of brain damage.
This girl is smart. She's got it. She's got it.
I don't know. Both of the stories are suspicious to me because who buys somebody 6 shots each?
That does sound like a
that
21-year-old.
When you said that, I was like,
Yeah.
that's a lie.
Yeah.
But then also the
Come on, bro,
spice,
everyone does this.
the spice 100 something times,
yeah.
like in your
You
lifetime.
didn't drink in high school?
I didn't start drinking until 16, I think. Was my I got a bar job, and the bartenders made sure that the busboys were drunk all the time. That was about 16.
I think the first story is fake.
Yeah, I think the
Because-
first
The
story's a
Okinawa
lie,
story
too.
is-
Yeah, because that's just too much spice, and I
Yeah.
don't think that you would be alive.
And I don't believe like I know Jessica, when I asked you this before, that a commissary of PX would be, especially in Okinawa, would be open 24 hours.
No, that is true. There's
But in
always one that's
Okinawa?
open.
Really?
Yeah, in England we had one that was. I saw I broke my foot before the first day of work. I was stationed in England, and we were going to the BX to buy some aftershock. I bought aftershock and had that in my hand and fell in a.
What is aftershock?
It's that fucking red.
Pink drink.
That red smell. It tastes like Fireball, basically.
Uh-huh.
So and then I step into a pothole. I broke my foot. So first day of work, I have to crutch in
Yep.
to the bomb dump.
You probably got out of a really shitty duty they were going to give you.
No, I
though.
still had to go out to the building with them, and the thing is I didn't wear a sock. I was so stupid, and I was out in this building that's not heated.
Yeah.
And my foot was freezing.
All right, I'm going to still say the Okinawa story is false and the stripper story is true. Jessica?
I say Okinawa is.
You don't say.
I think that's false. It's not a real place.
Okay. Right. So 3 Okinawa lies, 1 stripper lie. Is that
Yes.
Is that it?
Yeah.
The stripper story's the true one. Nailed it. Although I will say most of the first story is true. We never hit the base general's wife, but we did smoke weed in the officers' housing all the time. Or not weed, but spice.
Spice.
We did drive. Oh, I hit the table. We did drive around smoking spice in the officers' housing all the time.
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That is surprising to me that someone would smuggle that.
I mean, I'm not
I
wrong.
don't
Well,
think
you could
so.
buy it in
Naive.
Okinawa.
Yeah.
He just came back from it because he
Right.
found it in Afghanistan. He discovered it in Afghanistan.
Right.
But we found a source on Okinawa. We would go to this reggae bar over on Gate 2 Street next to the Air Force Base, Kadena over there.
Yeah.
And there's this reggae bar in a back alley run by some really old.
All right, that's a lie.
No, this is totally true. I'm telling you.
Stupid now.
I'm telling you.
This is the spice
This
speaking.
is a reggae
telling
bar
you.
in Japan.
They come
Sure.
in 3 packs, 3-gram packs, $150 a pack.
For the,
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's
for the spice?
it's super expensive. At least it was when I was over there.
Wow.
And
I just knew
in
they could get you.
yeah, well, we didn't have another source. And in North Carolina, we could go anywhere in outside Camp Lejeune and get it. We've paid maybe $15 a gram.
So you could get spice in North Carolina at that time? Wow.
I did all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, because
Wow.
they couldn't. As soon as they could test for it, I was going to quit.
Oh,
but
I
I liked
see.
getting
I
high,
see.
and I
Yeah.
couldn't get caught for it.
Wow, you guys have been such amazing guests. Where can
Wow.
people follow you and find you, Esther?
You can find me on Twitter at Esther Ku.
And Josh?
Could you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Josh Gibson Jokes.
Oh, wonderful. And then please tune into Esther's podcast.
It's called Ku and the Gang.
Ku
and
and
you
the
can find
Gang.
it at
It's-
kuandthegang.com.
I had such a fun time when we did that podcast.
Oh, thank you
that was
so
a
much.
fun time. And you do, and
Everybody
you do,
jerked off to your episode.
She doesn't believe me when I'm like, these dudes all want to fuck you, Felicia.
Like
Yeah.
nobody
They're
wants to fuck
attracted
me.
to you. Yes.
I don't believe it until I see a list with fucking names on
I'll
it.
get it for
It
you.
could be worse. They could be puking while they watch it.
Way to bring it down, Josh.
It's usually me. I'm happy it wasn't. So
That's
thank
not
you.
even the only story I have that ends with and then I puked on the stripper. Like,
I'm sure.
How much did you tip her?
I gave her 20 when I was like, I think I gave her 20 on the way out.
How would you feel if you got puked on and he gave you 20?
Oh my God! If
This
it-
is 20
if
in
it got into-
$2003.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the same amount
so
as
what is
now.
that? $24. But if someone threw up on my hair, I would beat the fuck out of them because that is so disgusting.
Maybe the bouncer pulled me out right away for my safety.
Yeah. Or
You
what
know?
about if it went like on her thong and in her crack? That's so disgusting.
Oh yeah, that's why
Yeah,
I felt the
yeah.
need to give her money. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is
Yeah,
not
but
what she
yeah,
signed up
$100
for.
probably
I don't
would've-
even
Yeah.
know how much money
Yeah.
I had.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to give her everything I had.
Well, next time
Right,
you
yeah.
throw
You're
them
a
on a girl's
man.
back, you give her everything.
Toxic
you have.
masculinity over here.
All right, Andrew, where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at @1AndrewRose. Also, go to my website, arosecomedy.com. I've got a joke book coming out November 30th, so be on the lookout for that. Finally got a release date, so yeah.
And where will people be able to buy it? Just through your website? Or on
Yeah,
Amazon?
it's going to be on Amazon, but I'll have like a link on my website if you want to do that. But it's 365 funny facts for your unfunny father. Starter's way better than he could come up with himself.
Okay, wonderful.
Cool.
Good, and congratulations once again
you.
on that.
Yeah.
I would like to throw a huge thank you to the Comedy Store. We are recording here in the belly of the Comedy Store where they have their little podcast studios, and we're happy to be here. And you can follow me, Felicia Michaels, all across the board on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Jessica?
Please follow me at Jess Wellington 2, the number 2. That's on everything pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the other Jess Wellington?
I don't know,
So
but
mommy and me, bitch.
There's two more actually, because there's one and then nothing.
yeah, there's a lot of Jessica
I switched it so I could
Wellingtons.
have the Felicia. The Twitter. My Twitter and Instagram the same, so that's why they both. Because I could have had one, but whatever.
Well, anyway, I've been Felicia Michaels.
I'm Jessica Wellington, and you've been live.